Hello, welcome back to my channel, my lovely friends. Hope you're all okay. And we are very quickly approaching the very big day, Christmas, aren't we? So this will be my last video this year. Well, certainly, maybe I'll do one in between Christmas and New Year, but probably not, because we all need a break, don't we? So I thought I would just bring you a very quick simple tutorial for those times when you just want to take a little bit of break from the festivities and you just want to sit down and do something mindful, which is what I've been doing this week with these pretty chains. You can use them for bracelets like so. Aren't they gorgeous? There's lots of movement and fun in these guys. Like I said, quite easy to make. You just need to just keep an eye on what you're doing, that's all. But I'll explain as we go along. We're going to be finishing this one, which I thought was very pretty, with two different sides of seed beads. Okay, so and obviously if you've been watching my channel long enough, you know that I love these bead mixes and I think they look really pretty in all sorts of things. And just a quick note to please excuse the wind. It's quite windy outside here, so we'll get going and I'll tell you what we need to make these gorgeous jingle jangle bracelets. Okay, so let me move these ones out of the way because we're going to be finishing this one today. I'm not going to show you the clasp actually, because you can use whatever clasp you like on these, because each end of these guys is finished in the same way, all right, with double jump rings on either side. So you can use an S clasp, you can use whatever clasp you like. All right, so I will go through and show you what we need. So what do we need? You're going to need some jump rings. Okay, so I make my own, and if you're interested in learning how to make really simple jump rings without all the saws and all the fancy schmancy equipment, I do have a little video which I'll put up here in the top right hand corner, so you can have a look at how to make your jump rings. So you're going to need some 1mm thick gauge by 5mm internal diameter, and you're going to need the same wire, 1mm wire, to make 4mm internal diameter jump rings. Okay, so 5mm and 4mm jump rings. That's easy peasy. And you're going to need a couple of pairs of chain nose pliers, you know, to do the jump ring thing. If you've got really strong hands, I suppose you could use your fingers if you wanted to, but you know, I think that's all you're going to need apart from some beads. So my best suggestion, I always use 8/0s and 6/0s or 5/0s for my little designs where I use jump rings, just seed beads, mainly because they're easy to get on. Now the only thing that I would suggest is just to try your jump ring like so. Just open it up and just make sure that whatever bead you're using actually fits on, because some seed beads that you get don't actually fit around the curvature of, now these ones do, and these are, what size are these? These are 5/0s. Okay, so you'll know what I mean when you get going, because sometimes you'll get seed beads that don't fit around. There you go, see, that one doesn't fit around the curvature. All right, so can you see what I mean there? I'll just bring this up, and that's a really good point. Can you see it doesn't fit around the curvature of the jump ring, but this guy does. All right, so make sure that you call out the ones that don't, but I'm going to say 5/0s, 6/0s, you should be okay. I wouldn't go any smaller than that, because like I say, as long as the hole is large enough. I'm going to be using 8/0s here, but these 8/0s do fit on, all right, because the hole is wider. So have a faff, have a play. We're going to be using 5/0. These are Preciosa seed beads, some of my favorites, and I'm also using Toho 8/0s to finish this guy off. All right, so gather your materials and we'll get going. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. And we are back. So have you got all your materials ready? So let's go ahead and make this really cute. It's like a cluster style. Looks a little complicated, but I promise you that it's really, really not. But it's super, super effective. I mean, if you really, really wanted to, you make yourself an absolutely beautiful choker necklace out of all of these, couldn't you? It would take you a while, but like I say, these are great for mindful making, I call it. So obviously you guys know that I do a lot of mindful making. Keeps me sane, keeps me from having my mental health issues sometimes. Have a bit of a problem with them. So these mindful makes are pretty much essentially what my channel is all about. So let's get going, shall we? I'll just move that up there so it's out of the way. Right, so you're going to need to come in with your 5mm jump rings and just pop them on your mat or your bead board or whatever it is you're using. Now here, like I said, I'm using 5mm, no, have you heard me? Not 5mm, 5mm jump rings and size 5 seed beads. Can't get my words out today, I'm using. So what we need to do is to start the core, what I call the core of the bracelet. All right, so all you need to do is to come in with your jump rings, open your jump ring up and pop on 2 of your size 5 seed beads like so. All right, and then close that guy up, and this is your first ring. All right, so come in with your second jump ring, open it up and pop on 2 more of your seed beads. So again, make sure that the seed beads that you use actually fit around the curvature of both of your jump rings. All right, because even though actually with this one I've used the same size, and with this one I've used the same size, which is fine, but this guy here I've used 2 different sizes, so just make sure things fit. So the second jump ring, you need to fit on your first jump ring in between the beads. All right, so you attach that first jump ring with these 2 beads on either side, and you do that all the way along. Just tighten them up like so. Get another jump ring. So this is essentially what I'm calling the core of the bracelet. So like so, 2 beads on. Okay, and can you see here we've got this guy attached to the first one. You want to put this in between the 2 beads like so. Okay, so you just attach this in between those 2 beads and then tighten that up like so. Basically you just keep going along as you go, making the core. So 2 seed beads. Gosh, the seagulls are out in force today. Very windy here today on the west coast of Lancashire. There we go. Hopefully no more fences down. All right, so as you can see here, that's our ring. We want to put this one in between those 2 like so. All right, so you just keep going along. I'll do a couple more whilst you guys tell me in the comments how you're doing. Love to know how you're all doing from all over the world actually, which is a wonderful thing. And also to let you know that I have a private Facebook group, so if you want to pop in there, I will leave a link to it in the description box. I'd love to see you there. It's a private one, so you know it's quite a safe space, and we've got a happy band of people in there. So if you want to come and join us and show off what you've been making, it doesn't have to be one of mine, it can be anybody's, and your own work if you like, absolutely fine. Oops. All right, so I'll just do this one. So again, in between the 2 beads. All right, so we continue, close that up. So you just keep going and going and going and going until you've got, let me see if I can show you. Looks a little complicated, but it's not. As long as you keep your eye on what you're doing, you'll be absolutely fine. So we've got jump rings attached to each other with 2 seed beads on either side. Can you see that? Okay, so keep going and keep going until you've got as many as you need that will fit around your wrist or indeed around your neck or whatever it is you're going to be using. I've worked out that for my wrist, I need 33 of these guys together. All right, so my core essentially is 33. What I do at this point is, so I know which end is which, I attach on one end a jump ring like so on this end, tighten that up, if I can see what I'm doing, like so, and then another jump ring. So I've got a double on one side, like so. What I'll probably do is in editing, I will bring this in quite close so you can see what you're doing. So as you can see here, we have 2 jump rings on that end there. Can you see that? And then a single jump ring through that double. Pop those through, so you have this. Is that focusing okay today? Yeah, it is. Thank you, camera. Right, okay, so that is the start of the core. All right, so keep going along until you've got however many you need for your length that you require, and then we'll go on to the next stage. Okay, so I'll see you in a few. And we are back. So hopefully now you have got the core with all of these larger jump rings with 2 little seed beads on each ring, and you pop the jump ring in between the 2 seed beads. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to come in with your 4mm jump rings, internal diameter 4mm jump rings. Okay, and if you wanted to, you can do this next stage with the same beads like I've done here. You see that I've used all the same sized beads. Or you can do what I'm doing with this one and 2 little smaller beads. All right, so it just gives it a bit of a different look, I think, don't you think? So what we need to do now is pretty much exactly the same principle. However, come in with your 8 O's. All right, so let's get going on this one. So the smaller 4mm jump rings, you would open up and pop 2 beads on, like so, 1 and 2, and then, so let me show you. I'm going to be using each alternate jump ring. All right, so we've got, if I hold it like so, we've got a flat jump ring. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. So we have a flat jump ring this way, and then a standy up jump ring this way, and then a flat one, and then a standy up one. So we're only going to be joining this little bead, this little 4mm jump ring on each alternate ones. So I'm going to use the flat jump rings. So if you can see there, we have a flat and a standy up, a flat, standy up, flat, standy up. Does that make sense? I hope that you can see that. So I'm only going to be attaching these guys to the flat ones, and I'm going to be attaching them underneath the beads, so at the bottom part of the jump ring. All right, so let me get this guy back, then I can show you what I mean, hopefully. So I'll just pop these out of the way. A little fiddly, but worth it. All right, so can you see here this flat jump ring? You attach this guy underneath the bead, like so. Let it just fall and let it just hang, and then tighten that up. So that's our first sideways one. You see that? And then we're going to do another one on the other side, which I'll show you in a second. So bead on, like so. And as you can see here, we've got these two beads, and then this 4mm jump ring underneath on one side. We just attach this one on the other side, but underneath the bead, like so. I will come a little bit closer in during editing so you can see what I'm doing a little more closely. So there we have our first unit done. All right, so I'm just going to leave that there just for a second so you can see. All right, so we miss this standy up jump ring here, and then go for the next flat one. So each alternate jump ring. So this guy here is the next one that we're going to be putting the rings on with the beads. All right, so come in with your jump ring. Oops, 2 beads. Come on, little bead. There we go, 1 bead and 2. These are the 8 O's. All right, so not this one here that's standing upwards, but this next flat one here. So you attach it underneath the pearl bead on one side. This is proving difficult because I'm doing it through the camera. So can you see there? I've attached it underneath this bead, but on one side of this standy up jump ring. I hope this isn't too complicated to follow. I hope I'm explaining myself correctly. I know you guys will pick it up. Okay, so the next one that we're going to attach will be here. So it's this standy up jump ring, and we're attaching it to the flat jump ring here underneath this bead. Okay, so I'll show you. Looks complicated, but it's just a matter of just keeping, you know, your eye on where you are. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do this part on all the jump rings, okay, on all of the base jump rings, the core, what I call the core jump rings, and that would be super, super jangly. All right, so as you can see here, 1 jump ring, and the next one goes on the other side underneath the seed bead. There we go. And there we have the second one. So let me see if I can you see that? Let me bring it really up close. So we have the flat jump ring with the 2 smaller jump rings on either side underneath the beads. Okay, so each one you attach on the flat. I know this looks complicated, guys, but genuinely it's not. If you have any problems, let me know. So the flat jump ring, 1 of the smaller ones on either side. So I'll just do one more so you can see. So the next one isn't going to be on here because that's what I call the standy up one. The next one is going to be the flat one, because obviously when you are attaching jump rings, you'll have 1 on the flat and then 1 on the side. 1 on the flat, 1 on the side, 1 on the flat as you're going along, okay, for obvious. And the 2 jump rings that we're attaching are always on what I call the flat ones, so the ones that are sitting that way. All right, so I hope that's understandable. I'm not entirely sure if I'm making any sense, but never mind. If I'm not, I'm sure you're going to let me know, aren't you? You will let me know if I'm not making sense. I would prefer that you do. At least don't tell me I'm talking too much. Okay, so flat, flat, and then here's the next flat one. Can you see that there? This is the next flat one here. So come underneath the bead and place your 4mm like so, like so. All right, and then the same thing, but on the other side of the standy up jump ring. So what I might do actually is I might pause and draw a diagram. That might help. But can you see here? This is the flat jump ring. This is the standy up jump ring at the bottom. And I've attached a 4mm to the flat jump ring underneath the bead. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. You see that? Hopefully. I will bring it in close, I think. So you just basically keep along, going along like so until you've got them all attached. And that is it. Absolutely gorgeous and very, very jingly and jangly, like so. And you basically get to the end. And when you've got to the end, you've got your lovely long or short or whatever bracelet. And I just think these guys are really, really pretty. Look how gorgeous that is. Really, really pretty. And again, like I say, you can use same size beads. You can use different size beads. Can you see? Maybe that might be a good way to show you. There's a 4mm jump ring on either side of the big ones. In fact, let me pause now and I will come back with a piece of paper and I'll see if I can demonstrate it on a piece of paper. So I won't be a sec. And we're back. Okay, so I'll do this really, really quickly. I have like a leather bound book that I do all my notes in for when I'm making things. I make, you know, I make notes. This is a new book, so good idea actually to get a little book. So to keep all of your sizes and your lengths of wire and all that kind of thing in. So let me just show you what I mean. So we have our 5mm jump ring. We attach another 5mm jump ring that way, and then another one that way, and then another one that way, and so forth. Okay, so these are your 5mm jump rings. All right, so imagine that's flat, and then that one's standing up, flat, standing up, flat, standing up. You understand the principle. We have a seed bead on either side. Attach your jump ring, okay, with a seed bead either side. And then there you go. So each time you want a seed bead on each side of where you're attaching it. Does that make sense? Righty-ho. So when we come in to attach our these little guys with the 8 O's on either side, you want to attach it here. So on the flat ones, but underneath the seed beads. Okay, so you'd come in with your 4mm, attach it there with your little seed beads on, and attach it there with your little seed beads on. Leave the standy up one and then come on to the next one. Your 4mm here with the seed beads on, and a 4mm here with the seed beads on. Does that make sense? And this is your larger one, your standy up one. Ignore that one, and then come to your next flat one. 4mm with the beads, 4mm with the beads. So I hope that makes more sense. So when I was looking at making these, it kind of made a bit more sense, and I thought it would be better to illustrate it in an illustration form, if you will. If it's completely complicated and you hate me, and that's absolutely fine. I'm so sorry for introducing something hateful like this, but genuinely speaking, obviously, it's beautiful when you get going. Look at look at how gorgeous that looks on the wrist. All right, so I hope you have fun, and I hope you manage to follow it, okay? Make lots like I say, do it in your free time, do it in your downtime, make it mindful, make it beautiful and make it mindful is what I say. And I hope you have an absolutely splendid, wonderful Christmas period and into the new year. And I probably will see you probably just before New Year ends. Okay, so I'll bob on quickly and wish you all a happy New Year. Have fun with these, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Thanks for watching.